Hello, everyone, and welcome to the monthly Oracle Wisdom. My name is Natalie Sadie, and happy 1st of July. Can you believe we are in July already? I say that every month, but that is how I feel at the beginning of each month. And as I'm sitting down to do this reading, there are firecrackers going off above my head. And if nothing else, that is always a reminder that we are in the month of July. So I hope June was a great month for all of you. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the page. I appreciate you all being here. And for those that are waiting for the weekly Oracle Wisdom, that will be coming up after I've done this reading. So we are going to start out with Wisdom of the Oracle, one of my favorite decks. All right, let's see what's going on in July for the collective. Time for a nap. That sums up the day that I had. This is a reminder, self-care is so incredibly important. And if you need to take a moment to just stop and take care of yourself, even if it's not actually a nap, but, you know, taking 30 minutes to sit quietly and meditate, or even just watch TV or do something that fills your soul, make sure you do it. And certainly in the Northern Hemisphere, it's a perfect time. Everybody's on holidays at the moment. I went out for a walk earlier today and the streets are really quiet. So, you know, it's a perfect time to kind of slow down. And as for people in the Southern Hemisphere, like where I'm from in Australia, it is freezing there at the moment. And every time I speak to everyone, they're saying that it's pouring with rain, certainly in Melbourne. So you know what? What better time than to curl up for a nap than on a rainy day? Chaos and conflict. So, I mean, is that how you're feeling? Are you feeling like there is chaos and conflict going on? And it doesn't always need to be in your face. It can be things that are sitting a little more in the background, but you know that it's there. I always tell people you are in control of every situation. You can't control what somebody else is doing, but you can control your reaction to it. Let me just pull another card just to get a bit of clarity around all of that. Okay. So don't get involved. No matter what's going on around you, and if other people are causing chaos or if they are trying to start conflict, be the observer. Do not get involved. Do not buy into the argument. And this is essentially a confirmation of everything that I just said, in that you can't control what anybody else is doing, but you can control your reaction to it. And if you take a step back and observe what's going on, a couple of things happen. You manage to stay in control, because when people are in the middle of a situation and they're losing their minds, they lose all control of themselves and the situation. Also, when you take a step back and observe, you're able to get more information. You're able to actually assess the situation and see what's actually going on. So take that step back, watch, and I always say knowledge is power. If you are able to understand what is actually going on, not just react to it because you see something, and it's always our instinct to just jump in and react, whether that be physically, whether that be saying something. And we may not have all the information. When you take a step back, you can actually see why people are doing what they're doing. You can get the full scope of what it is that is going on. It means you're not just reacting to this one thing that you've seen, and that can change the course of how everything plays out. No place like home. I feel like this goes back to the first card that I pulled, which was time for a nap. home is the place where it's a sanctuary, right? Well, it should be a sanctuary. I hope that it's a sanctuary for you, but it's a place where we go and retreat from the world. It's where we fill our cup back up. It's where we re-energize before we go back into the world. And home is always our safe space. Just make sure you're not using home as a crutch. You don't want to run away from everything and ignore every single thing that's going on. That's not healthy either. But when it's time and when all of that chaos is getting too much for you, retreat, go back home, do what you need to do to regenerate and rejuvenate yourself, and then make sure you step back out into the world. You don't want to hibernate indefinitely. Fork in the road. So you may be coming to a point where you need to make a decision. And this is where, if it's in relation to the chaos and the conflict that's going on, this is where being in observer mode will really help you, because it means when you get to that point where you need to make a choice, you're going to be in the best position to do that. You are going to have all of the information in front of you and know without a doubt which road it is you need to go down. And I know when you hit a fork in the road, it can be a scary moment, because you have to decide if you are leaving one particular thing behind, but it can also be an incredibly freeing thing, because it means you're no longer torn. You no longer need to sit there and agonize over whether you're making the right decision or not. Once a decision is made and you're on that other road, you're going where you're going, and the other stuff is just left behind, left to its own devices. Unfinished symphony. So is there unfinished business that you have that you've been thinking about? I think it's time to go back and finish that. And the reality is, you can never sort of move on truly until the things that are still hanging there in the air waiting to be finished are actually complete. So this month is a time to tie up those loose ends and get all of that finished. Because one, you'll have a sense of accomplishment. Two, it means it's done. And three, it then means new things get to come in because you've finished the things that are hanging over your head. And often when you've got things that are unfinished, it's like a weight holding you down. And it's just the most horrible and depressing feeling, because you can't get free. You can't go where it is you want to go because you haven't finished this thing or dealt with this unfinished issue that's going on. So you will feel better for freeing yourself from that. And I'm going to pull one more before we move on to the next deck. Yin. So I don't know if you've been sitting in your masculine energy, and often we do that because we have to get things finished. We don't have a choice. But it's time to remember the feminine part of yourself, because we all have a masculine and feminine, and it's time to honor that and balance that out again. And I feel like if you listen to what's going on, and if you take time to rejuvenate, you take your nap, you finish the things that are hanging on, you're going to have this time to slow down and focus on that energy. And we all need to do it, whether we're male or female. We have the masculine and feminine within us, and we have to honor both parts of ourselves. So this month, make sure the feminine part of yourself, the yin, is being honored, taken care of, and looked after. I feel like it's a perfect month to do it, with everything being a little slow and, like I said, in the Southern Hemisphere being a little little cold, so a good time to sort of snuggle and stay indoors and not move around as much. It's a perfect time to take care of you. So now I haven't used these cards publicly before, but these are the Urban Crow Oracle, and I've been using them a lot in the last few weeks, and I love them. So let's see what the crows want to tell us. Okay. Direction, which goes perfectly with the fork in the road. You know where you need to go. So it's time to focus. It's time to start moving that direction. It doesn't need to be fast. This is a whole thing. Often people see this card and think, right, we've got to go now. No, you just need to know where you're going and start moving in that direction. And one foot in front of the other will get you there. It doesn't matter how quickly you move. So make sure you're clear in where you're going. And this is where you've got to make your choice. You've got to make the choice about what you want in life, what direction you want to move in, whether that choice has something to do with the people in your life, the jobs that you're looking at doing, or maybe you're hitting a moment where it's a huge life change. But it's time to pick that direction and start moving. So I love this card because if you read the book that come with these cards, they talk about how crows are really mischievous. And if they see cats and dogs, they'll often sort of try and play with the animals and pull their tails and all of that and just, create a bit of havoc. So this, I love that the cards do this. This comes back to the chaos and conflict. So the mischief card, it can mean that there are people sort of causing trouble in your life. And this card doesn't represent danger or really intense trouble. It's mischief. It's people causing chaos because they can. The other question is it you that's creating the drama? Is it you that's creating the mischief and the chaos? And so the same question would be asked here with the chaos and conflict. Are you in the middle of it? Are you causing it? So that's what you have to figure out. And if it's you, it's time to stop because you need to focus. And if it's not you, observe what's going on, pay attention to what's going on, and then make your decisions from there. I actually really enjoy crows. I don't love when we have the meeting of the crows outside the window where there are so many of them that you can't hear yourself think because they're all cawing to each other. But I actually love how intelligent they are. And fun fact, you know how you always see crows in the background of horror films? They're never placed there. It's a natural occurrence. And the reason it's a natural occurrence is because crows love fire. And often in horror movies, there is fire and special effects in that direction. And so the crows fly in because they just think it's great. And a lot of bushfires or brush fires are started by crows because if somebody throws a lit cigarette butt out the window, the crows will see it and pick it up because it's fire and they're fascinated by it. And then if they drop it in the dry shrubs or in the bush in Australia, that will start a fire. I always like having fun facts. Okay. Community. So crows will work together and they'll all come together. And again, I love how these cards always come out. I was just talking about when they have the meeting of the crows. This is exactly what I'm talking about. They all come together, all of them in the neighborhood, and they all talk to each other, whether it's a warning about something that's going on, or maybe they're talking about something else. But if you need to, lean on your community, ask for help from the people around you. You don't need to isolate. And that's what I was saying with this card. Go home, rejuvenate, take care of yourself, do the things that you need to do for you to take care of you, but don't get stuck there. Don't stay there and isolate completely, because that's not healthy. You need to step back out into the community and, see the people around you that can offer a lot of value to your life and, help you along the way. We're not meant to do life on our own. It's not necessary. It's not how it's supposed to be. Okay. Sacred place. So there you go. Exactly what I was talking about. So for the crows, their sacred place is obviously going to be their nest. That's where they lay their eggs. That's where they sleep at night. It's their home. So go there and honor that and use that space to take care of yourself. But it doesn't mean you need to turn yourself off or isolate yourself from community. I'm going to pull one more of these cards. Trickery. So crows, going back to the mischief card, they get up to all sorts of things, but they're so ridiculously intelligent, and they're tricksters. So to me, this goes back to the observer card. Pay attention to what's going on around you. Don't be tricked by anything that somebody else is trying to pull. Just observe, be aware, and all of that knowledge, it comes together, and knowledge is always power. Always, always, always. So there were a couple of decks I was deciding between to finish this reading off, and this deck just kept coming up. So this is what I'm going with. And this is, I think there's one card in here that I'm not meant to have. This is the self-care wisdom cards. And I just kept thinking in my head that this was a perfect month to instead of finishing it with shadow work or something like that, I thought it'd be nice to finish it in a way where it gives us an idea of what sort of things we need to do for self-care. And considering the way the reading's gone, perfect, right? So truth is different at different levels of consciousness, reserve judgment. So I think this is where you need to be truthful about what you want, what you need, whether that's to your partner, whether it's to your community, if you're reaching out to people and asking for help or support. But also, if someone's being honest with you about something that they've got going on, don't judge. Don't ever judge somebody. We're all here learning lessons, and our souls are growing in this journey of life. And people are going to do things that maybe you wouldn't do, but this is part of their soul growth. And I don't believe people ever want to come from a bad place. So just reserve judgment. The beauty card. Today, you are a curator of beauty. You are blessed with moments that let you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that all is well in the world. So trust the beauty that you see in the world around you. Trust the beauty that you have in your own life, and trust that the universe has you. Life can be hard. We're always faced with challenges, but the universe will always catch us and will always get us to the next part. And I get that we all go through things that can be difficult, but that is all for our soul's growth. And we have to trust that and still be able to see the beauty in the world with what's going on. And then the last one that jumped out is change course. A closed door is an invitation from life to move in an even better direction. It's time to change course. So if there was any question about where, like the decision you need to make in regards to the fork in the road, it's time to change course. It's time to move on. It's time to let go of the things that aren't serving you anymore, and trust that the universe has you. I hope this has resonated with some of you or all of you. And as I always say, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Not every reading is for every person. If you do like this, please like, comment, share, subscribe, tell your friends about it. If you're not a member of the High Vibe community, which is where I started doing all of my readings, and my weekly readings are on the High Vibe app, make sure you subscribe to that. I will have the link below. For anyone that watches Gemini Rising, or maybe if you haven't seen Gemini Rising before, Anne and I did an incredible episode with Chris Reck from Minnow Pond Tarot. And it was such a wonderful conversation. I will have the link to that below. And for anybody that are fans of Bridgerton, Anne has just released a video on her YouTube channel, which is about the real history of Bridgerton and that time period. And it's fantastic. It was only released today, so I will have the link for that below in the description as well. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. I will be back with another monthly forecast on the 1st of August, and the weekly Oracle Wisdom will be coming up in the next few minutes.